Well, it finally happened. Today, October 5th, 2023, Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis all announced their intention to switch their cars over to the North American charging standard, more commonly referred to as the Tesla connector. We've been waiting for this day for a while now, and last week some photos leaked of some cars being photographed at a Tesla station in California. So if you want to find out how this affects you as a current Hyundai, Kia, Genesis EV owner, then stay tuned. With winter fast approaching, now is the best time to purchase some all-weather floor mats from today's sponsor, NACS. NACS is a Maryland-based company selling high-quality, laser-measured floor mats at a great price. They're made from TPE, which is a mixture of rubber and plastic, so they offer traction and flexibility as well as strength when you need to remove them, so you're not going to dump their contents all over your floor. If you've ever owned floor mats from, say, WeatherTech, then you know those are made from a much harder material that tends to warp over time. Not with NACS. They also feature a simple and classy-looking pattern with a lip around the entire footwell so liquids won't spread around and get on your carpeting. I've been using their front and rear floor mats as well as trunk and rear seat liners for over a year now, and they've held up admirably. So these floor mats have gotten the Ioniq Guy seal of approval, and when anybody asks which floor mats to buy, I always recommend NACS. Available on their website or Amazon through the links in the description. Hey everybody, it's the Ioniq Guy. If this is your first time to the channel, welcome. I cover all the news with Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis electric vehicles. So, big news today. And let's just get right into it. So early this morning, Hyundai put out their press release stating their intention that beginning in Q4 of 2024, their vehicles will begin shipping with the North American charging standard as standard equipment. Canada, I'm sorry to break the news, but you guys will not be getting a NACS port on your cars until the first half of 2025. Now this is going to replace the current CCS1 charge port that we all know and love that comes on our EVs today. And you'll now be getting the more streamlined, easy to use Tesla connector. Now, if you're not somebody who follows the industry pretty regularly, then you might not know that many other automakers have already put in agreements with Tesla to begin adopting the North American charging standard on their cars. So Ford was the first to do it, GM, Rivian, Honda recently. All these big name players have all announced their intention to start using the connectors. Most of them are going to start implementing adapters next year so that current cars can pull up to a Tesla supercharger, plug in with this adapter, and they'll be able to get a charge. Now, starting in 2025 for those automakers, they will begin implementing the NACS charge port on their cars. Hyundai, Kia, Genesis are saying Q4 of 2024, so that's just a little bit closer than 2025. Now, currently, our cars are limited in terms of charging rate at Tesla superchargers. Tesla is slowly ramping up the output to 800-volt architecture cars, which most of Hyundai and Kia and Genesis's cars are. And as time goes on, we'll start to see them ramp up the charging speeds for us. And Hyundai's press release specifically says Tesla's commitment to expanding its network will enhance customer access to out-of-home charging and fully support the ultra-fast charging speed on Hyundai's advanced eGMP platform vehicles. So that statement right there alone tells me that Tesla is planning to allow us to accept up to 245, 250 kilowatts of charging power with our cars, which is great for everybody, especially Tesla drivers. Teslas charge a little bit slower than us, but they're still relatively fast charging vehicles. So the quicker we can get in and out, it just allows more throughput through these stations. Hyundai also says in their press release that adapters will be made available in Q1 of 2025. So if you go to a Tesla supercharger that doesn't have a Magic Dock with a built-in adapter, you will be able to use your own adapter, plug it in, and charge. Now, if you remember from a few months ago, Hyundai and 6 other major automakers already announced their intention to build their own DC fast charging network across the US with a minimum of 30,000 chargers, with the plan to open them in summer 2024. So that's really not that far away at this point. You're talking about 8 months. This charging standard is also no longer going to be controlled just by Tesla. It is an open standard. The SAE has announced that they are going to make their own standard around this connector. Now, if you don't know what SAE is, it's a Society of Automotive Engineers, and they control all the various basic requirements for standards for cars. So they are going to implement the NACS as a standard in the United States and North America in general. And I know what you're saying. You're saying, well, what about all these other charging operators? So think Electrify America, EVgo, ChargePoint. The good news is they've all already announced, with this landslide of other automakers announcing they're switching to NACS, that they will also be implementing NACS cables on all of their DC fast charging stations. So that's also great news for everybody. Now, if you do come across a station that is CCS like our current cars, it's very easy to adapt with a plug type adapter. And that's because the NACS standard already utilizes the exact same communication to the car that CCS does. So with a simple 5-wire adapter, you can go from NACS to CCS and CCS back to NACS. It's really simple. I wouldn't count on Hyundai, Kia, Genesis giving out these adapters. You are most likely going to have to purchase these out of pocket. Maybe they'll be $100, $200. We haven't really seen any of the other automakers pricing yet, but I would expect it to be at least $100. Now, looking at Kia's press release today, they specifically call out something that we didn't see in the Hyundai and Genesis press release. Kia says EV owners will have access and auto-pay convenience using Tesla's supercharger network via the Kia Connect app once a software upgrade is completed. Kia EV owners will be able to search, locate, and navigate to available Tesla superchargers through their EV infotainment screen and on their smartphone devices, including charger availability, status, and pricing. So this sounds like more or less plug-in charge, which many EVs already have. We haven't seen that directly implemented into any of our cars yet, but there are certain charging operators that do allow it. I know EVgo does have a version of this. When it's set up with your account, you can just plug in your car and it will know who to bill it to. So it is kind of getting slowly implemented out there, but it's not totally prolific yet. Now, it is worth mentioning that when I charged at the Magic Dock on Monday, it was about 51 cents per kilowatt hour, which for me is pretty pricey. Now, Electrify America does seem to be on the lower side compared to Tesla. So just something to keep in mind that in the future, just because Tesla's available doesn't necessarily mean you might want to even use it. But this is excellent news for me. As somebody living in New England, once you get up into Vermont and New Hampshire and Maine, there's practically no DC fast charging as it stands today. But opening up superchargers is going to make a world of difference for people who want to get up into the White Mountains, the Green Mountains. I haven't been able to take my teardrop camper trailer up north yet because it's just too far with the trailer. It wouldn't get as much range as I need to get up there, and there's no DC fast charging options. So unless I'm going to stop like 3/4 of the way and stay at a campground and charge, it just isn't feasible for me, and that really sucks. And then there's the ongoing issue of overheating charge ports with the Ioniq 5. Maybe making this switch to NACS will completely eliminate this issue. Maybe there's something intrinsically different about the Tesla connections that will make these connections much more robust, less likely to overheat, less prone to poor connection and increased resistance. So we can only hope at this point that that will get better with NACS. Fingers crossed that it doesn't get worse. So I know a lot of you do road tripping. I personally don't. Using the Magic Dock on Monday was the first time I used a DC fast charger since last December. So it's been a while. I just don't really do road trips that much. So DC fast charging just isn't as critical for me on a daily basis. I do all my charging at home on my level 2 charger, and it's great. I love it. I think this announcement does kind of put some people who are on the fence about buying one of these cars now kind of in a pickle. Should they just wait a year to get the car that has NACS built in? Or should they just buy now and use an adapter in the future? I really don't know what to tell you guys. If you need a car right now, there's still great cars. You can go buy a car today. If you're currently just perusing the market and seeing what's available, at least in terms of the Hyundai Ioniq 5, if you don't need it today and you want to wait until the end of next year, the car is going to get a mid-cycle refresh for the 2025 model year, along with hopefully getting the NACS charge port. Something to also consider is the fact that our cars do not have the charge port in the right location to use Tesla superchargers. So Tesla superchargers today, we're not talking about version 4, which haven't started showing up here in the US yet. They all allow for a charge port that's on the driver's side back corner fender. So our cars, you have to park in the spot next to the spot you want to use to be able to use that charging cable. And this is going to cause chaos at Tesla superchargers as the cars are currently designed today. This is going to leave a spot open, but that charger is going to be utilized. It's going to make people confused. It's going to make people mad, and it's just going to be less than ideal in the interim. So hopefully Hyundai, Kia, Genesis are going to relocate their charge ports to either the passenger front fender or the driver rear fender. We've already seen photos of the upcoming Kia EV5, and that does have its charge port on the passenger front fender. So hopefully they have already got this in the works and we will be seeing it on all future EVs. And in regard to the Kia EV5, October 12th, Hyundai is hosting their big EV event where they're going to be showing off multiple new EVs for the coming model years. So stay tuned for that because there's going to be a lot of cool information coming out. So anyway, guys, let me know what you think down below in the comments section. And if you haven't already seen my Magic Dock video, be sure to check it out right here. And as always, if you liked today's video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, share it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody.